Port Elgin, Ontario, a town 230 kilometers northwest of Toronto with 8,000 residents. Like thousands of other Canadian children, Brett MacLean got hooked on hockey at a young age.
I always had a stick in my hand, and it just was a big part of my life. I would play every day if I could have.
In this small community, MacLean became a hockey prodigy with big-time ambition.
You know, I think I was the first one that kind of grew up in town and played all the way through and lived here the whole time. And you know, it was a pretty big deal for myself. You know, you come from Port Elgin, and a lot of people telling you growing up that no one makes it from here, so it's kind of a big dream to have.
MacLean would become a prolific goal scorer in the OHL, as a 19-year-old netting 61 goals in 61 games with the Oshawa Generals.
In front, MacLean!
A year earlier, MacLean was drafted to the NHL, Phoenix selecting him 32nd overall.
It's your child's dream, and you're just so thrilled that it's coming true.
In December 2010, MacLean made his NHL debut, and in his third shift, he made his mark.
I just remember coming down the ice and the puck coming there and putting it in, and after that, just kind of everything goes blank. It was one of the greatest moments in my life, and something I'll never forget.
Then last July 2nd, at age 23, just 18 games into his NHL career, everything changed.
The phone rang, and it was our youngest son that Brett was in the hospital, and you're thinking, like, what happened? Did he break a leg? Did he, you know, get hit in the head, that kind of thing? And he said, no, he collapsed on the ice.
Come to this arena in Owen Sound for a summer scrimmage with friends. Jason Gallagher was the first person to see Brett, who had suffered cardiac arrest while playing.
You know, his eyes were rolling in the back of his head and back up. He was fighting, like just fighting for his life. He was gasping for air.
Within seconds, Gallagher, a phys ed teacher with medical training, began treating his friend.
And we started CPR, Jason Silverthorne and I. He was doing the chest compressions, and I was supporting the head.
Jay Forsland, a 21-year veteran of the Owen Sound Fire Department, was also at the rink. After calling 911, he grabbed the arena's defibrillator, also known as an AED.
His color was really poor, which is something you kind of learn. As soon as we put the AED on him and administered the first shock, then almost automatically you could see a little bit of color come back.
The paramedics arrived within 5 minutes and continued to use the defibrillator. MacLean was then airlifted to a hospital in London.
Put him in an induced coma and, you know, in a hypothermic state to preserve brain function, that kind of thing, and that we wouldn't really know anything for 24 hours.
For 2 days, Brett lay in the hospital unconscious on a ventilator. Then 48 hours after collapsing on the ice, Brett MacLean awoke from his coma, weak, weary, and wondering what happened.
Well, first I thought that I had drowned, because I remember being at the beach. That was my last memory at the moment, and then, well, they said I hadn't drowned, so I figured I must have gotten in a car accident. Didn't even think at all that I played hockey or that could have been why it happened.
If it is not attended to, people don't do CPR, and we don't have an automatic defibrillator nearby, survival rates are less than 5%.
Brett left the hospital after 12 days with a clean bill of health, but also with an implantable cardiac defibrillator inserted into his chest, and knowing his NHL career was over. Last October, months after his cardiac arrest, MacLean returned to the ice for the very first time. He now plays non-contact shinny twice a week. Off the ice, he shares his story as a spokesperson for the Canadian Heart and Stroke Foundation.
Just spreading the awareness that, you know, defibrillators and CPR can save people's lives. I'm a perfect example of that, and, you know, if we can save a few extra people's lives every year, it's worth going out of my way and spreading the word.
Thanks to David Amber and to Brett MacLean for the beautiful story. And Ellie, you want to chime in first on that?
Well, just, you know, on one hand, you feel so terribly for the guy. He had such a bright future. I remember going to see Phoenix a few years ago and Shane Doan asking about him in the OHL and saying he's exactly what we need here, that type of goal-scoring presence. But just to see that he's comfortable, he's happy, he's found a purpose, I think it's a great story.
Also a testament to the human spirit and the will and the perseverance that he had. So that's great to see, and just to show how the community really helps out, especially those great folks in Owen Sound. It's great stuff.
because the day's about heart, and that story kind of touches it.
And a tip of the hat to first responders again. It comes up time and again. Andy Petrillo at the Chevy Desk.